Chapter 13. A Mummy's Laugh. Who pulled off my finger? I want my finger. The words were cold and gray, and trees bare and ashen. Yoji ran faster and faster, but the voice behind him kept getting louder and louder. Who pulled off my finger? I want my finger. I didn't mean to take it, Yoji shouted over his shoulder. Cass just threw it at me. He could hear twigs breaking, leaves crushing, his own footsteps, or his pursuer. He couldn't tell. Finger. I want my finger. The museum has it. You'll get it back for you. I promise. Finger. 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 Just let me live, please. He tripped on a rock and fell to the ground. Winded and terrified, he looked up into the dark, yawning mouth of pull my finger. I want you to pull my finger. His little brother Ganjin in his Spider-Man underoos. Not as scary a sight as the mouth of a mummy, perhaps, but equally unwelcome. Pull my finger, repeated Ganjin, pointing his finger at his sleepy older brother. Go away, said Yoji, closing his eyes. Pull my finger, go away. Not until you pull my finger. What? Why? Just pull my finger, please. Fine. But then you're leaving my room. Yoji lifted his head off his pillow and gave his brother's index finger a quick tug. Ganji grinned and let out a loud fart. Thanks, I need that, he said with exaggerating relief, and then he started laughing hysterically. Dude, you're worse than Max Ernest, Yoji groaned. Ganjin shrugged. Mom said you're going to be late for school, he shouted, running out of his older brother's room. Max Ernest was the last to arrive. The other students were bent over their desks taking a test. Sorry I'm late, he said to his math teacher who was writing something on the chalkboard. Max Ernest had a momentary memory lapse. Why was he late? But his teacher appeared not to notice, at least. He didn't turn around. Slightly under, Max Ernest sat down. His test was on his desk, along with a pencil. How could he have forgotten that there was a test today? It was so unlike him. When he saw what was written on the test, he frowned. There weren't any words or numbers, only symbols, hieroglyphs. Strange that they would be on a math test, although, of course, the ancient Egyptians were very good at math. He glanced around the classroom. He could read hieroglyphs, yes, but surely the other students would not be expected to translate from ancient Egyptian. Could this message be written only for him? Max Ernest scrutinized the hieroglyphs, trying to make sense. S-E-E-K-R-E-T. He sounded out secret. For a second he was thrilled with the discovery, and then he realized this couldn't be the secret they were looking for. It was just a modern word rendered phonetically into hieroglyphs. Was somebody playing a joke on him, taunting him? He looked up and the teacher was walking towards him wearing the clothes of a math teacher, but he had a face of the mummy. The mummy grinned at Max Ernest, revealing the dark holes inside his head. Congratulations, Max Ernest, you figured it out. The mummy extended his four-fingered hand. Terrified, Max Ernest shook the mummy's hand, only to experience an electrifying jolt of his alarm clock. It was time to get up. Cassandra, my dear, come. Get off your ear. The jester looked down at Cass with concerned eyes. The bell of his hat gently jingled. Around them, the red and white strips slide of his tent billowed in the wind. Time is running out. Stop lying about. Cass raised her head. How long do I have? She asked, fighting the sense of panic that was overtaking her. In answer, the jester picked up an hourglass off a card table and turned it over. As the sand began to pour, the sides of the tent gave way and flew up in the wind as they were light as paper. Cass blinked. When she opened her eyes, the jester was gone and she was standing in a vast, silent desert. Ahead of her, a black and white bird, an ibis, flew in slow circles above the enormous sand dune. Cass could only feel the bird's dark eyes on her, waiting for her. She started walking towards the dune, her bare feet sliding backwards in the sand with every step. On her finger, the golden ibis ring pulsed. Felt warm. Soon, Cass thought, soon I will know the secret. The points of her ears prickled with anticipation. Suddenly, a hot wind stirred the sand and forced the bird to flap its wings harder. The bird's movement became erratic, his circles larger. The wind got stronger and stronger until sand was billowing as big as gusts off the top of the dune. Sand stung Cass's eyes. It blew into her mouth and her ears and her hair. The ibis could no longer hold its position. With a single plaintive cry in Cass's direction, flew off into the horizon. Protecting her face as well as she could, Cass trudged forward, determined to reach the dune. But the closer she got, the smaller the dune became. It was as if she was falling further away rather than climbing closer. By the time she reached the spot where the dune had been, there was only flat desert. And lying exposed in the ground, the mummy, he sat up and looked at her. His eyes were the eyes of the ibis. "What is the secret?" she shouted, but her voice was lost in the wind. She tried to repeat her question, but this time the words would not leave her lips. She slumped and then tried to regain her footing, and then stumbled again. The wind knocked her flat. She could feel the sand blowing into her, burying her. Soon only her face was right, and the right hand was uncovered. Sand swirling around the ibis ring as if simultaneously attracted and repelled by opposite magnetic forces. The mummy stood over her. Behind him, loose linen bandages blew in the wind. "The secret? You want me to tell you the secret?" He started to laugh. "You have the ring. Give me the ring." He laughed harder and harder until she was entirely covered in sand and about to choke. She woke up with her face buried in her pillow and the mummy ring falling at the chain around her neck.